I believe they are very sincere and very serious. From the result, we know that past 50 years, asking for land for Tamil schools and allocation for temples and the lands has never been attained by any previous government like Barisan National. Nobody ever spoke these particular issues like now in the state assemblies we can see that, yeah, especially when we looking at from Kedah, Perak, Penang, Selangor, where while Perak, the original government, the day government is Pakatan government supposed to be there, they really allocated so much of, the land for Tamil school and also temples. It's not only that we are talking about here. The issues like estate workers issues being identified. Yeah, the leaders in Pakatan Raya, the Indian leaders in particulars, they really they understand not only Indians, Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim, Nik Aziz, Alim Gorning, these top leaders of the parties also, they understand Indian issues need to be addressed as they promised in March 2008 prior to the poll. They said the Indian issues will be the prime issues in their administration. Yes, they are addressing the issues. We can see that. No, Kampung Popular issue, if we must look at it. What I'm seeing here is when we look at it, we look at the old scenario first. How Kampung Popular issue started. They say it's the Indian heritage place, but the land is sold when BN government in power, and then if at all the BN government still exists in Penang, we know what will happen to these residents of Kampung Popular. The highest they can get is maybe low-cost flats. Today, Lim Gorning with our Professor Ramasamy, they're able to convince the state assembly to get them double stories terrace house, which is very fair. We are not talking about here preserving whatever exists, the existing rights. What we are saying is what is supposed to be done in the kind of scenarios. When the wrong is done, their remedy, they are in the place of their stand is now to remedy the wrong have been done. And I believe Mr. Gorning have done the best, taking into the interest of the state and the people down there.
But I cannot say that Pakatan is perfect. But Barisan Nasional is the worst. Pakatan is only 2 years old, so they need a time to improve. But Barisan Nasional, until today, they cannot show anything good to the community. Okay, even the country moving towards to 2020, but the community is go backwards. So we are disappointed. But Pakatan, we look for example in Selangor. On last year, 4 million was allocated for Tamil school and 2 million allocated to the NGO Indians. And this year, the same 4 million also allocated for the Tamil school. Another 4 million, the extra 4 million allocated by Selangor school. So we cannot say that this Pakatan Selangor state government totally refuse or decline the Indian rights in the states. Okay, whereas Kedah, for example, they don't have much funds to do for the community. By the way, they are still allocate the land and do some funding for the Indian community. So we need a time. I believe this political tsunami create a political artificial politician, where we look like recently there's a 4 MPs was a crossover from PKR. This is a artificial politician. We don't want him. We don't want them. Okay. So now those are in the Pakatan Rakyat are the real leaders where the community wants. I believe this time it's a political tsunami happened. But next general election, we believe next time will be a public tsunami will be happen on the next general election. This time definitely public will be selected the Pakatan Rakyat, because the Pakatan Rakyat have very clear agenda, which recently they already listed. There's some resolution, which these resolutions are clearly made that community, Indian community especially, are in the good position.
This the Indian community in particular, and in fact generally all the community in this country wanted some legislation to be regulated to ensure that there is no discrimination. So, like Sex Discrimination Act, Race Discrimination Act, which you see in England and so on, that should be created here, and which is not being done by Barisan Nasional because they've got their own agenda. They know what will happen if these are put into legislations. Race Relations Act, Sex Discrimination Act.
Yes.
Like now we have a code of conduct for prevention of sexual harassment in workplace. Why can't that be brought into an act? So the government, central government has got its own reason for it. They got their own agenda for it. And one very important thing is, you see, the awakeness of the Indian community actually took place after the 2005 December Mount Everest Murthy's case, the conversion issue. When that happened, that's where the Hindraf also started. This is history and nobody can deny it. Okay. So after that, the government came out giving assurance to the community, saying that we will do something, we will amend the law. We are not talking about amending Article 1211A of the Federal Constitution. We are not talking about that. That affects the Sharia court. And we don't want to do that. Sharia court has been set up to look into the Muslim. Yeah, that's fair, fine. We are talking about the jurisdiction of the civil court. Then again in the year 2006, December, Rayapan's case came. And there too, when there was an outcry of the Christian community, the government said the same thing. Then came the year 2007, December, Subhashini's case came. Then it was the same. And last year we saw Indira Gandhi's case, how 3 children, underage children, were grabbed from the mother just with the birth certificate. The husband can go and converted himself and converted all the children. And until today, the mother has not seen the 3rd child, 1-year-old child, for the past 1 year. And the court has given an order asking him to surrender the child to the mother. And he has still refused to surrender the child. Now, last year, Dato Sri Nazri, the Minister and Prime Minister's Department, came out and he gave another assurance saying that the law will be amended. But that particular law, the draft was sent to the rulers' conference. And from the rulers' conference, it went to the respective state Islamic department. And it stays there. They were supposed to table it in the parliament last June. But until today, we are yet to see the legislation. So these issues of similar cases of Indira Gandhi, which affects the Indian community and the non-Muslim community, will go on and on and on. And Barisan national government dare not take a stand, though all were appreciative of the assurance given by Nazri then last year. But after that, it just died off like that. So these are issues which are in the Indian community, in the non-Muslim community. But who is going to come and remedy the situation? Barisan is not going to do it. Like it or not, you got to fall on Pakatan to do it. And Pakatan leaders are agreeable. In fact, the Pakatan convention we said that if Pakatan comes to rule, we will create the Sex Discrimination Act, Race Relations Act, to ensure that all races are treated equally, especially in the workplace and so on. So there has to be a change of government, federal government. With state government, you can't do much. End of the day, it's with the federal government. Policy matters, legislative matters are in the hands of the state government. Federal departments, Ministry of Education is with the Barisan national government. Then you accusing the Pakatan government that we have not given land to the Tamil school. It's not proper. It's not that we don't want to give. But the application to convert the school into fully aided government school should come from the Ministry of Education. The acquiring of the land should come from the Ministry of Education, because they can acquire land for public interest under Section 4 of the Land Acquisition Act. They are failing to do it. And certain quarters blames us for it. We are sincere, we want to do it. But because of all these legislations, we are handicapped from doing it.